The new Ram 1500 Express Black Edition is the lightest weight variant, so it should offer the best performance for this engine tune. Being the lightest weight also helps when it comes to towing and carrying heavy loads because you have the most leftover GCM and GVM. But with this entry model, you don't get the 4A driving mode. You've only got two-wheel drive, 4H and 4L low range, which means for most of the time, it's only rear-wheel drive. So it certainly looks the part. It's got a clean yet muscular stance, especially from the front. This base model does miss out on some of the high-tech features, such as the headlights from the top spec model. It also misses out on the front camera. That's just a plastic bulb where the camera would go. Being the base spec model means it's the most affordable, about $110,000 excluding on-road costs, making it, the most affordable big American pickup truck currently on sale in Australia. Inside we've got a fairly basic trim, but it's all here. You've got cup holders, a slidable center console, plenty of storage around, little rubber matted section, cup holders in the back, and it does miss out on the big touch screen, but you get physical controls for all the climate. It is only single zone climate control though. I actually don't mind these cloth seats because they're nice and warm on a cold day like today, but then in summer, they're gonna breathe a bit better. Obviously, upper spec variants with the ventilated seats, they're gonna keep you cool anyway, but yeah, I don't mind a nice cloth seat because it just makes it feel kind of warmer and cozier. One of the biggest sort of disappointments that it misses out on is a 4A driving mode. So you can't really, tow on dry tarmac with the safety and security of four-wheel drive like you can in the upper spec variants that have a 4A mode. But that's the same as the F-150 Ford as well. The base spec model, it doesn't have the 4A mode. So you got to drive around in rear-wheel drive basically all the time. But fit and finish and trim quality is excellent. This is the same luxury dash that's carried over from the upper spec models. So you've got this kind of exposed stitching and leather or leatherette trim all across the top. It just feels very well made and quite luxurious considering this is the base spec model. And up at the back, massive amount of space as you'd expect. It misses out on the full console featured in the upper spec model. So you've just got climate vents. You don't have climate control or anything like that, or USB ports. They're all in the front. You don't have a flip down armrest either. But again, you've got that cloth seat, which I think is quite comfortable. You've got plenty of storage, including underneath the seat, and you've got the pockets in the floor to stash away some mucky items. There's so much space back here. There's almost too much. I would like it if Ram offered the shorter wheelbase version in Australia because that's just way too much. Like you're not going to be, even if you had the seat all the way back on the rail, it's going to be about there. So yeah, if you were 6 foot tall or more, you'd still be totally fine back here. I think there'd be actually too much room. But having a shorter wheelbase, and having shorter rear doors, it'll just make it a bit more tidier, a bit easier to park in tight situations. But anyway, this is what we get in Australia and it's very spacious. So if you like that open and airy feel, this is your vehicle. And up at the back, nice big cargo area, spray and tub liner. You've got the sliding hook system or rail system. You do have a light back there as well. You've got the opening portal window, so that helps when you're reversing. You can yell at your mates. But mainly the towing capacity. So up to 4.5 tons, the same as the other variants. But you've got a GCM of 7,711 kilograms with a curb weight of 2,478. So hook up a 4.5 ton trailer, minus the curb weight, minus 450 kilograms for the tow ball download, you're left with 577 kilograms, which is massive. It means you can carry 5 passengers and some luggage while towing 4.5 tons. Under the bonnet, we've got the same 3-litre twin-turbo inline-6 petrol engine carried over from the upper spec variants. It's not the high output version as in the Limited, but you've got 313 kilowatts and 635 newton meters. That's hooked up to an 8-speed ZF automatic transmission with rear-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. Interestingly, despite this engine being a fairly serious unit, over 300 kilowatts from just 3 litres, it's not mucking about, it is compatible with 91 RON fuel. So if you're in a rural situation and you don't have access to 95 or 98, you'd probably run it on 95 at least to get the most out of it, or 98 if you want the most performance. But yeah, it is good to know you can run it on 91 with no problem at all. It's a 98 litre fuel tank, so it's going to be pretty expensive to fill up, but officially the consumption rate is 10.7 litres per 100 kilometres, which is way less than the old 5.7 V8. It's actually pretty reliable, pretty efficient in the real world as well. We'll go for a drive in a minute and I'll show you what it's like. We'll do the performance test later on. I'm going to put it into the 4H mode. Now that's not recommended or not, yeah, you shouldn't do that at all on dry tarmac, but since we're just doing straight line stuff, it should be fine. Some of the footage you'll see, I've started down here because of the direction of the sun. It's a little bit damp, the tarmac, but I actually did the V-Box testing up the other end and it was completely dry. So whatever the footage looks like, don't worry, I've actually timed it in the dry. It's just the filming only because the sun is over at the other side there. Just gives a better view from this direction. Out on the road, this is very comfortable and relaxing to drive. The engine is quiet and smooth. I mean, quietness can be a bad thing if you want the sporty note, but in terms of absolute just comfort and relaxation, this is one of the best. You've got coil springs at the back as well, which helps out with ride comfort, especially compared with a lot of the diesel dual cab utes on the market that have leaf springs. But I think mainly that engine, it just helps to provide a kind of majestic driving character. I'll just show you the kind of kick down. You've got heaps of torque in reserve and it just gets up and boogies straight away. And yeah, as you can see, I'm averaging 11.5 litres per 100 kilometres now. That's after performance testing. Before performance testing, it was saying 11.1 with normal, regular driving in the suburbs, bit on the highway, bit of squirting about. I think that's an awesome real world average, especially for a big vehicle like this that can tow 4.5 tonnes. Visibility is excellent, especially out the front. You've got a big gap between the side mirror, although it does stick out a fair bit. You've got to be careful in tight situations. But yeah, you can easily see around the A-pillar. Nice perched up view as well. And then around at the back, you've got a massive rear windscreen with relatively thin C-pillars in the back corner, so you don't have a huge blind spot. It is a little bit disappointing that it doesn't come with the surround view camera as offered in upper spec variants, especially for a big vehicle like this. But you do have a kind of 2-mode rear view camera, so you can hook up a trailer a bit easier. Now obviously big vehicles like this are not designed for zipping about in the city. They're designed for the open road, out in the country, on roads exactly like this. So you can imagine towing a big heavy trailer like a caravan or a boat. You've got plenty of room and it just effortlessly cruises along, but also having a big footprint helps with stability. So that means better safety, more confidence behind the wheel. But don't get me wrong, it's not like you're driving a bus. It's not that big. It's actually the same width or similar width to a Toyota Land Cruiser or Nissan Patrol. And on a road like this, which is a typical, country road in Australia, I don't have any problems keeping it in the lane. It's not like I'm only just making it. It's totally fine. This does come with lane keep assist as well, which I've got turned off, and it does stay off. Like that's just a physical button. If you don't touch it, turn the vehicle off, start it back up again, it remains in its off position, which is awesome. But yeah, you can turn that back on and it gives you a bit of extra safety net. Handling is actually pretty good for this size vehicle. You've got those 275 tires, so they help with stability as well, but it's actually, it's not bad driving it down even a spirited road. And with that engine, as I said, it just really makes the drive very enjoyable and pleasurable. But mainly I'm keen to see what this vehicle is like in terms of performance, because being the lightest weight, this should offer the best 0 to 100 time of all of the Ram 1500s with this engine tune. Obviously it's not going to be as quick as the the 400 kilowatt high output variant, but it should be the quickest out of the rest of them. Let's go out now and do the performance test and see how it goes.